Spring practice week 1 is officially in the books, and I've got a couple concerns. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Sun Devils. My name is Philip Mulford. Unfortunately, Parker's a little sick today, so he won't be able to join us. But today, we're going to talk about the first week of spring practice in its entirety. There was Thursday, then there was Saturday. There was also closed practice on Friday that we got a little bit of insight into. Plus, seems like if you read the tea leaves, Randy Bennett is closer to being a done deal than I think many people otherwise expected. But to get started here, we got to talk about one problem. Maybe it's not a problem, we're going to find out. But one question in the spring practices that we've seen, because we've talked about how good Omarion Miller looks. We've talked about how there's a bright spot coming out of the safeties room, how the defensive backs look a little bit better. And we'll talk about all that as that evolves, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the program. But I want to start with Cutter Boley, because this guy comes in, and Parker and I both have been saying, well, you know, he was asked to do a lot at Kentucky, and those interception numbers are probably not as bad as they look. Because yeah, he has a lot of interceptions. He had two multiples in a game, and you're thinking, oh, Jeff Sims all over again. But he's not going to be asked to do as much in the ASU system. He's not going to be asked to go vertical as much in the ASU system. So with another year under his belt, with Marcus Arroyo coaching him, with Kenny Dillingham coaching him, got a lot of confidence that he's going to be able to go and solve these problems. And everyone's got an interception here or there, but it's not going to be 10 a season. That was the thought. And now we're seeing reports that not only did he have an interception in spring practice in 7-on-7, which, you know, shout out to the guy that did that. Right. Shout out. I'm going to have his name in a second, but shout out certainly to it's nice to have two interceptions. There we go. Jessiah McGrew. Shout out to him. Had a great interception. The transfer coming in, safety from FIU. But also, what has me a little bit more worried is these reports coming out that has people talking about how Cutter Boley really likes to try to force it into tight windows. And part of that could be confidence. We did see in that sequence, in the 7-on-7s where they're playing, where Jessiah McGrew went and had a great jump, got an interception off the first team. Awesome. Well done. You'll love to see that. As we talked about the other day, ASU's not really had ball hawks consistently in the last couple of years. Next play, Cutter Boley, next offensive possession, goes down, hits Vines Bright, deep shot into the end zone. Vines Bright takes off and we get a touchdown. So awesome. And it's not necessarily that the interception itself has me worried. It's that he's, again, trying to force this thing into windows. And yes, you're going to have to do that. Big situation comes up. Quarterback has to be a quarterback you want more than just a game manager. And we do want him to be able to go and fit those tight windows. But on the flip side, you're coming out of a career of a year where you have 10 interceptions. Maybe do the easy stuff first. Maybe get yourself more comfortable in the system, and then you start to draw and try to fit those in. So we'll see how this goes. We're going to keep, and this might just be early recency bias, early saying, well, you know, he had a problem before, so that makes me a little bit worried. We're going to have to see exactly how that's going to go, but it is something to pay attention to. For right now, and it is something that has me a little bit worried. Now, of course, if you're paying attention to the quarterback battle, I don't know if we're going to see Fetty this year. He might be another year before we properly see him. But Cam Dyer has been throwing some great deep balls. I'm going to try to throw one up if I can find the footage for this edit. But he's looking pretty on some of these deep balls now that he's properly recovered and a little bit more time in the system. So he certainly wanted to take a look, keep an eye out for. I don't know if he's going to be our starter. Again, odds on here, everyone's treating Cutter Boley like he's going to be the starter, which is fair. He's got the talents. He's got that great S2 score. He's someone that gets Kenny like really excited, and I'll take that. If Kenny's excited about a guy, I'm pretty sure he's pretty good. But again, this quarterback battle is not a done deal. This will not be a done deal for a long long time. But on the subject of highlights and lowlights, we do again have to shout out Jessiah McGrew. It is nice to see these interceptions coming. It was a pretty one. Against Cutter Boley. We had a pass breakup as well. And this is still as this guy, like Jessiah McGrew is a transfer from FIU. He's coming in. He's not totally, he doesn't know the systems just yet. He's still getting things figured out. But it is really nice to see him go. And even though he's not quite tuned in, still getting figured things out as they had, he's still the structural, his structure in the team is still getting calibrated, but still looking great. Of course, the big highlight from Saturday was Omarion Miller with the standout one-handed catch in the end zone on the punt. But I do want to talk about that punt for a second, because it has been much like I was at watch parties last year in the DFW area, which is where I live. And I was going to ASU Alumni Association watch parties. And every time Jesus Gomez hit a kick, everyone would erupt in cheers because we have a kicker again, because we were so traumatized from 2 years ago. And now we got a guy coming in. Now, of course, Canyon Floyd's pretty good. He struggled last year, but again, a lot of that was injury. I think we're going to see him actually have a pretty big comeback. And he was pretty highly rated coming into this year. So I would not be surprised to see him go and have a good time. Have a pretty solid year. But Nick McClarty is massive. He's 6'7", 225 or 255. We talked about that earlier. But he is hitting these massive booming punts into the end zone. And sure, being a punter is about more than just hitting the booming punts. But even if it's something where Canyon Floyd is a little bit more technical and a little bit more accurate, and in these, we're at the 50 and we got a punt. We're at the 45 and we got a punt. We want to pin him within the 5. And maybe that's what Canyon does. And Nick McClarty is in here just for these big kickoffs. These we're pinned deep and we need to flip the field. Having access to that is really exciting. And I know it was Omarion Miller with the one-hand OBJ catch, and that is impressive. Like, that is absolutely impressive, and give him his accolades. But nice to see a punter that can actually do things. The people I want to shout out, it has been interesting watching this Clayton Smith experiment, looking even better on day 2 than day 1. I did think it was kind of interesting that there was this Dillingham quote that he talked about Clayton Smith. He's talking about how he's not playing as fast as he is, which is a good thing, which means that he is playing in control. And it can be really tempting. You're in a new position. It's your last year of your college career. You feel like you need to go and show up and show out and be really impressive on day 1. But it seems like Clayton is taking a really good approach to this of, I haven't played wideout in a couple years. I've been doing things very differently. Let's just learn the system. Let's do what I need to do. And then once I'm there, then we can do some fun stuff. So I'm excited to see how that one continues to develop. Final thoughts about spring practice showing up. We had a lot of pretty highly touted recruits and a lot of ASU alumni. There we go. Coming in on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Apparently Brock Osweiler was at the closed practice on Saturday. I don't know what happened there. Again, it was closed. But reportedly that Brock Osweiler was there. We have Tyson's been on the sidelines. Keith Abney showing up. Hungaika Matire. Rashad White was there. Although, of course, Rashad White had... Rashad White. Yeah, Rashad White was there. So it's good to see him come back, give him back. There was it's fun to see this team develop, man. I'm very excited to see how things are going to go, but we also have some other news breaking over the weekend that I really want to talk about, because watching this coaching search evolve has been fascinating. So we're going to talk about that in just 1 second. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, your inbox overflowing, and that one position you have to fill still sitting open? When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Indeed sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location. So you're not just giving the right candidate, you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says everything. In the scant minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires, according to Indeed data, and that's worldwide. So if you spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less time, less stress, making sure you get more results, make sure to go check out Indeed sponsored jobs. And Indeed listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Episode also brought to you by Coast. Coast Pay is giving Locked On College listeners up to $2,000 as credit for business when you get started today. If you manage a crew, so construction, HVAC, landscaping, any operation with trucks on the road, you already know how messy gas and material spending can be. Cards get shared, receipts disappear, and month-end turns into a headache. Coast Pay fixes everything. Coast Pay is the modern fuel card and expense management tool built specifically for fleets. Fuel, maintenance, materials, all in one card with real control and instant visibility. Every transaction shows up the moment it happens, no surprises. So if somebody fuels up at an odd time or tries to buy something outside of their limit, you'll know as it happens. Even better, with real-time receipt capture, all those payments you've been making are all in one place, which makes end-of-the-month paperwork a breeze. It's built for operators who don't have time to chase that paperwork. And unlike old fuel cards, there are no contracts or commitments. It's just smarter expense control. Right now, CoastPay is offering our listeners up to $2,000 as credit when you get started at coastpay.com/lockedoncollege. So make sure to go to coastpay.com/lockedoncollege and see how you can earn up to $2,000 credit. Terms apply. The Coast Visa commercial credit card is issued by Celtic Bank. All accounts are subject to credit approval. Make sure to go check them out. And if you've been watching us every single morning, first of all, thank you. But make sure to go check out the Everyday Air Club at lockedonsundevils.supercast.com. You get ad-free listening, not just to our show, but every single Locked On show. You get access to a members-only Discord that I'm hanging out in every single day. We'll talk about March Madness, even though Sun Devils aren't in it for the most part. Football, basketball, baseball, whole shebang. Come join me on there. And if you join now, promo code March is going to get you the entire first month free. And unfortunately, we are running a bracket challenge. It's already gotten started. I am deep down in the dumps. Half my picks did not pan out, but you can come in and make fun of me for how bad my picks were. It's a good time. Make sure to go join us in the Everydayer Club. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to check it up right there. Let me know what you think about how spring practices are evolving thus far, or the Randy Bennett potential hire, which might happen as soon as today if you're listening this as things get released, because that is what we have to talk about next. We've spent a lot of time talking about prospective hires. We had Byron Scott on the show. We were told that he had been interviewing. It seems like that was maybe a little bit erroneous, and he was more starting his campaign to try to get interviewed. We had him on the show. That was pretty fun, with a lot of rumors about Olin coming in, Utah State's head coach maybe making a run at him. My kind of odd man out would have been Hubert Davis, who reportedly might be on the outs at UNC after kind of successive, underwhelming NCAA tournament appearances. Now he's making the NCAA tournament. He had a deep run 3 years ago, so I would take that. That would be a great improvement for us. No complaints. But of course, he's not getting fired just yet. I think he's meeting with them next week. And Chris Cartman broke the news 2 days ago. I think it was about 2-3 days ago, by the time that you are listening to this on Monday morning, if you're listening when it goes live, that they are in deep discussion on this topic of Randy Bennett coming in next, or in serious discussions, advanced discussions with everything. So it was on Saturday. There we go. That Bennett is giving serious considerations to returning to Arizona. Remember his dad, great head coach at Mesa Community College. Now, of course, we talked about this a bit ago. Graham Rossini was with women's for the first four. Now, unfortunately, we'll talk about this a little bit later. They lost last second, 55-57, heartbreak there. But it then gave Rossini a little bit of time to go and maybe pursue Randy Bennett a little bit more. And the reporting we saw on Saturday said that this was a full court press, that this was Bennett was our guy. We really wanted Bennett, and he's number one. According to Dan Bickley, there's Randy Bennett, then there's everyone else. I would not hate getting Bennett for a couple reasons. Now, first of all, he has had a great career. He was, what is that? Yeah, 2022 to 2025, so 3 years in a row. WCC, four-time W Western Collegiate Conference Head Coach of the Year. He has had 12 NCAA tournament appearances, so one every other year, give or take, which is great, especially theoretically coming into ASU with more resources than St. Mary would give him. He's got a great record. He's real. And the thing that makes me most excited about potentially Randy Bennett is that he installs a system. And the system is not shoot from wherever. This is schoolyard ball. If we got great guards, we're going to win. If we're cold, we're going to lose. Which was really the Bobby Hurley style. And look, it led us to some great heights. You know, we had the Remy Martin era. We had the Trey Holder era. We had Guard U. It was awesome. But we still had those random losses because it relied on them just chucking shots up and relying on talent, which is not how you win basketball. It's not how you play consistently. It's not how you win consistently. So Randy Bennett comes in. Potentially. Again, if you're watching this, he may have already been hired. As I'm recording this, he has not been hired. Randy Bennett potentially comes in. He has this team that is ranked top 20 defensively for the last 5 years running. I love a good, I cut my teeth watching UVA basketball going up. You know, good pack line defense. Tony Bennett. Kind of funny that they got similar names, by the way, but like good pack line Tony Bennett defense. As a group in Virginia. So a good defensive team gets me really excited. Shot clock goes down. Crowd gets loud. I really enjoy that style of basketball. So that has me excited. His ability to install a system and bring people in that pay attention to that system, which means that even if your star is cold, you can find ways to make it happen. And that is not something that we've ever had at the Bobby Hurley era, not with any level of consistency. That makes me really excited. What makes me a little bit less so is his age. Right, Randy Bennett has been linked to ASU as a coaching destination for like the last 20 years or so, give or take, as far back as 2006, when they were looking at hiring Herb Sendek. We all know how that happened. I mean, Sendek is in the NCAA tournament. He's actually having a great run. But you know, we all know Sendek was kind of middling. He was solid as an ASU head coach, but, you know, eventually he got let go. People will argue that he really got carried by Harden and wasn't all that special by himself. But the problem really is that Bennett is 63. He has said in interviews that he does not want to be coaching into his 70s. So he is at most like a 6 or 7 year hire. Maybe even less. Now, if we, as we've talked about, as Parker and I have talked about on the show, are looking for a transitional guy that's going to rebuild the program, that's going to get us to maybe maybe upper half, upper third, upper quartile of the Big 12 regular season, maybe winning one here or there, getting it into a really good spot, making the NCAA tournament. Maybe round of 64, maybe first four. Again, these are improvements compared to what Bobby Hurley was able to do at the end of his tenure. And just stop these really frustrating games that we've been having. I think Randy Bennett, given ASU's resources, which granted are not where we would like them to be, but I think Randy Bennett having a little bit more resources, I think we could see him go and have a good time and have some good results. Maybe make a round of 32, maybe make a Sweet 16 if we are really stretching. I know that is one of the issues that people bring up, where Randy Bennett has not made a Sweet 16 in quite a while. He made the round of 32, made the round of 64, but not gotten into that third round for a while now. But even still, making the round of 32, winning a game in the NCAA tournament, and we're not counting first four here, would be a massive win. So that'd be fine. So get us into that situation, and then 2029, 2030 comes around. We have this $100 million arena comes in. Randy Bennett has been preparing to retire. He's been grooming his successor. that successor comes in, takes over program momentum, brand new arena, excited fan base, and we do this. That would be, I'd be down for that. I don't know who that is. I know people, I've been seeing people on the internet talk about it'd be really cool if Randy Bennett gets hired and Derek Glasser gets hired as his like associate head coach, assistant head coach in waiting, whatever. It gets groomed for a little bit. I think that'd be fine. I've been pretty vocal about not wanting Derek Glasser because he just has zero head coaching experience. His team that he's assistant coach on is not very good. But if we could get Glasser to come in as the functionally, hey, just got to wait a couple years, you'll be the next head coach. That brings the hard money in. He gets to cut his teeth under a very good head coach. Because let's be real, Randy Bennett is a fantastic head coach. That's the best of all worlds. Love to see that. That would be 10 out of 10. And maybe we keep Nick Irvin too, so we can have job next year. That'd be awesome. So that is where we are. We're gonna have to see. I like the Bennett hire. He's not number one on my list, but there's a lot to go for him. There's a lot to be said for him. And I certainly would not be upset if the press conference comes out on Monday and they say Randy Bennett is the next head coach of the ASU Sun Devils. I'd be pretty excited. I think you all, I think all Sun Devil Nation would be pretty excited if we were able to make that happen. So that's where we stand. That's my thoughts on the matter. Let me know if you got any different ones, because I do read all the comments. But on the subject of basketball, women's basketball season ended in the first four. So we're going to take a second to talk about what that season meant, because it is a massive improvement. It has been an incredible season for the women, the women's basketball program. We're going to talk about that in just a second. What if sports were traded like markets? Now, you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. So use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction market changes the game for people moving the action. So when the momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but I never had a dynamic way to properly apply that knowledge. And now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. I'm no longer just a spectator. Play by play, I get to decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Episode also brought to you by 5 Hour Energy's Flavor Draft. With 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy, there's something out there for everyone. So the board, it's all set up. Everyone's ready. The flavors are ready. And with my number one pick in the 5 Hour Energy Flavor Draft, I'm going with a classic. I'm going with pomegranate. It's a little bit more sophisticated. It's got a bit of a dry finish, not quite as sweet. And it's the perfect thing for me to get ready for my day. I'd be on the lookout, though, because 5 Hour Energy is always coming out with fantastic new flavors. And I'm sure that whatever comes out is probably going to bump my pomegranate off of my number one spot. So make sure to go check out, you find your new flavor, your new favorite flavor of 5 Hour Energy shots, available online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. So ASU women's basketball had a great season. It's over now. Unfortunately, they lost 57-55 to Virginia. Last second, great game. Last second, they ASU trail in the entire game. They make a run, they make a comeback, and pretty shot. Last 30 seconds, Virginia is able to go and put it away. But that does not take away from what ASU women's basketball was able to do this year. Because it has been a season of records. Molly Miller, first time, I shouldn't say the first time, setting a record, most wins by a first-year head coach in ASU women's basketball program history at 24. Best start in school history, 15-0. First time we've ever gone that deep into a season without a loss. We went 15-1 in non-conference games. We won 7 road games. It was the best we've done in 9 years, 9 years. However the math goes on that, most since 2018 or 2009, since the 2018-2019 season. And We had a super sweep of Arizona. We beat them home, away, and we beat them in the tournament, which is, I mean, anytime we beat Arizona 3 times in a season, that is a good year. Also swept Utah for the first time in quite a while. You know, I also really want to, I know we've been talking a lot about the ASU men's resilience. I want to shout out the resilience of these women. They had an awful first half in the first 4. They shot 28% from the field in the first half. They tied it at 41 seconds to go. And then, you know, we did see Kimora Johnson from Virginia had a go-ahead triple, go-ahead 3. And we were not able to make it happen. But we had the ball in our hands. We had every opportunity to go and tie it up, to go take the lead. And that's where you want to be. March Madness is March Madness for a reason. You're not going to win every single game. You're not going to have a deep run every year. But to hang in there, to do what you need to do, to have the ball in your hands, season on the line, that's something people dream of. It didn't roll right this year, but it was still, I'll take it. What makes me really excited, though, is how Miller's going to utilize the program and the portal this coming offseason, because she pretty much rebuilt the program. The vast majority of our players came in through the portal this year, which is fair. That's not uncommon with first-year head coaches in the modern NIL era, regardless of whether it's basketball, football, baseball even. It's not crazy, but it's going to be interesting to see how she's going to be able to use it again, because we saw the same thing happen with Kenny. His second year, really, he goes and fills out the vast majority of our roster, or a significant fraction of our roster, with portal talent. We know that happens. We win the Big 12. We get a game against Texas stolen away from us. Missed targeting call, some other calls. As it stands, great run 2 years ago. Is Molly going to be able to go continue the success? I happen to think so. She is cut from the Dillingham model. She's excited. I saw the tweet out from ASU Athletics a little bit ago, where they're like, oh, not only has she won more wins, program record in school history, not only was one of she only 2 first-year head coaches in the NCAA tournament. Not only did she have the most wins gained, most win improvement of like one of the most, or the most wins gained of any program in the NCAA. She 10 wins this year to last year. Also, Sun Devil social media engagement was up like 250%, which may not sound like basketball, but it matters, because that's how you get people to transfer, and that's how you get recruits, on top of what we talk about with Kenny Dillingham, of like friends talking to friends. But raising raising what it looks like to be a Sun Devil online, that is, I'm not going to say as important as winning games, because you still got to win the games, but it is tremendously important. And Molly Miller Sun Devils really have improved at both, to the point where I had people from the Big 12 squad asking me like, oh, what's the status? Why is Molly Miller not traveling with the team? Because I don't really care about ASU, but she's awesome. So I'm excited to see what she's going to be able to do. It's a great season. A little disappointing to lose in the way we did, but we made it. We were dancing. First-year head coach, total program rebuild. And it's only going to be upward from here, especially because with the Final Four happening in Phoenix for women's basketball, our assistant head coach is giving a panel. They're doing a lot of stuff. It's another way to go really raise the profile of ASU women's basketball and get even more people potentially interested in coming to the Valley, playing one of the greatest places on earth, and maybe make a deep run in the NCAA tournament next year. But that does it here for us here today. Tomorrow, if it happens, we're going to go deep into as much as we know about the Randy Bennett hire. If it doesn't, well, we'll keep an eye out for it. Going to talk about football as it continues to evolve. It's going to be a good time. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Make sure, again, to check out the Everyday Club, LockedOnSunDevils.supercast.com. Ad-free listening, first month free, promo code March, and, of course, access to the Discord. If you're on YouTube, make sure to go check out the first ever 24, or we're going to send you on over to the first ever 24/7 Locked On College Sports channel, where you can check out what's happening around the world of college sports. And if you're listening on YouTube or listening on podcast platforms, make sure to go make sure your second listen is Locked On College Basketball, because March Madness is crazy. I mean, that Nebraska Vanderbilt game had me jumping, screaming on the edge of my seat. I'm sure they're going to talk about it. They're a great crew. And I'll see you tomorrow.